The Watchman Prayer Meeting, which raises the absolute partisan, is taking place with the scattered disciples who have the covenant of world missions. The 2024 Japan Evangelism Conference took place on the 8th for 2 days. The 8th Asia Business Persons Conference will take place in November at Bali, Indonesia. In the answer of raising the absolute partisan in the church and field, the Female Pastors Retreat will take place on November 4th at the Deokpyeong RUTC. Hello, this is the RUTC News. The Watchman Prayer Meeting, which raises the absolute partisan, is taking place with the scattered disciples who have the covenant of world missions. Holding to the Christ-given covenant of 7 partisans, 7 journeys, and 7 guideposts, the Watchman Prayer Meeting, which unites scattered disciples across the world in oneness, began October 7th. The Watchman Prayer Meeting, which raises the partisan of light towards the 237 nations, is open to multi-ethnic disciples of the 237 nations. Takes place online every night at 10 p.m., excluding Fridays. The link to enter the online prayer meeting is on the WEEA website and the HQ Kakao Open Chat Room. The partisan movement, which raises disciples of world missions who have come out from the disasters of the past and will block the disasters of the future, last week's Saturday course service was the World Military Missions Conference at the Deokpyeong RUTC. The 21st World Military Missions Conference opened with the theme, The Time Schedule for the Proliferation of Military Disciples Amidst the Spiritual Soldiers Who Will Save the Military Field. This year's Military Missions Conference proclaimed 5 lectures titled Military Missions and the Covenantal Gospel, The Military Missions Disciple Who Does Things in Advance, Military Missions and the Disciple Who Enjoys the Gospel, Military Missions and the Disciple Who Will Relay the Gospel, and Military Missions which Blocks the Disasters of the World. Also an appointment and commissioning ceremony of military partisans for the proliferation of military disciples of 237 nations, and the ordination of military ministers and officers who will stand as absolute disciples for military missions was held. Today's Saturday course service is being given at the Seohyun Church of the Jeju chapter. The 2024 Japan Evangelism Conference took place on the 8th for 2 days. This year's Japan Evangelism Conference, with the theme Watchmen of Japan Who Will Save the World, had 3 lectures by Reverend Yu titled Secret Partisan, Raise the Partisan, Watchman's Masterpiece. In Lecture 1, he relayed that watchmen must know how to keep watch 24 hours a day, and come to the conclusion that God has raised us as saving watchmen, gospel watchmen, and watchmen who enjoy happiness. In Lecture 2, he proclaimed that when we raise the partisan of God within ourselves by the rhythm of prayer, 24-hour prayer takes place, and the blessing of the watchman which saves the infirm, summit, 237, and 5,000 will come. In the final Lecture 3, he said that enjoying the 3 concentrations in life is the beginning of the holy meditation movement, in 24-hour enjoyment and 25-hour waiting, seeing the eternal masterpiece and challenging is the prayer that sees the time schedule, receive the perfect guidance of the Holy Spirit, and prepare 300% vessel for globalization. Especially at this year's conference, Reverend Yu met with native Japanese pastors separately and relayed the biblical evangelism method through the message titled Paul's Evangelism Preparation 300%, meeting with the Japanese 3-day weekend 24-hour actualization team and giving the message to the Japan Small Standing Committee. He relayed that the actual 3-day weekend answer is healing, and that they must do healing ministry to save Japan and the world. Also for the Japan missionary kids, he emphasized that they must become the model of the actual prayer movement, the 3-day weekend age, and 3 courtyards through the holy meditation movement. Meanwhile, prenatal, infant, and preschool remnants from all over Japan gathered to meet with children's ministers and talked about the stream and future direction of remnant ministry. The 8th Asia Businesspersons Conference will take place in November at Bali, Indonesia. The 8th Asia Businesspersons Conference, which opens for the first time in 10 years since 2014, will gather the partisan businessmen from all over Asia to receive the word. They will block the disasters of the 4th and 5th Industrial Revolution and heal the field from dying from its after-effects. Following the time schedule of Word Fulfillment Answers, which saves the 237 and 5,000 tribes, this year's conference, which gathers the absolute disciples God has prepared in the business field, will run from November 12th for 2 days in Bali, Indonesia. Registrations are open until October 31st at WEEA. Meanwhile, the October European Businesspersons Conference and Evangelism Conference will take place from October 29th through the 31st for 3 days in Munich, Germany. The Businesspersons Conference Lecture 1 will be on the 29th at 6 p.m., Lecture 2 on the next day at 11 a.m., the Evangelism Conference Lecture 1 on the 30th at 5 p.m., and Lecture 2 on the next day, 31st, at 10 a.m. Same-day registrations are open, but room and board will not be available. The 2024 Southeast Asia Evangelism Conference and Philippines Remnant Conference will take place on December 17th and 18th in Clark, Philippines. First, the Philippines Remnant Conference will open on the 17th with the theme The Opportunity to Save the 5,000 Tribes. And the Southeast Asia Evangelism Conference will take place on the 18th with the theme The 237 Opportunity. Details are available at the WEEA website. In the answer of raising the absolute partisan in the church and field, the Female Pastors Retreat will take place on November 4th at the Dokpyeong RUTC. The female pastors in the historic stream of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd RUTC Eternal Answer will gather and take a hold of the word which will be fulfilled as their covenant on November 4th. All pastors and pastors' wives, female pastors, may attend. Lecture 1 will start at 11 a.m., Lecture 2 at 7 p.m. Registrations are open at WEEA until October 31st. The Church Officer Graduate School Fall 32nd Semester Lecture 4 will be broadcast through RUTC TV at 5 p.m. on the 20th.
그 중위자분들이 그래도 혼자서 시작하시는 게 괜찮습니다. 예수님이 전부 개인화를 시킨 겁니다. 그래서 40일이 걸린 거예요. 중위자분들이 혼자서 하란 말이 아니고 혼자서 이 답이 나야 그 다음에 검토일 시도 할 수 있고 그 다음에 중위자들 모일 때 포럼도 되고 다 되는 겁니다. 그래서 중위자분들이 이 비밀 스케줄을 짜야 돼요. 저는 이걸 혼자서 했거든요. 그때부터 제가요 예배가 살아나더라니까요. 설교를 들어도 이제 예배가 되어지고 내가 설교를 해도 예배가 되어지고 그때부터요. 이때부터 여러분 산업의 역사는 납니다. 날마다 성전에서 날마다 집에서.
The principal of the Church Officer Graduate School, Reverend Yu, will relay the message titled The Evangelism Studies That Church Officers Must Know, Too. It will be broadcast on RUTC TV. This semester will not have any in-person evangelism studies lectures, only online. All registration offering proceeds of the Church Officer Graduate School is being used for the Future Church Fund. The 5th World RTS Conference will take place on October 24th at the Dokpyeong RUTC. Gathering the spiritual leaders who will restore the gospel and lead the evangelism movement, this year's conference opens with the theme, The Least Will Become 1,000, the Smallest a Mighty Nation. Open to RTS students, graduates, alumni pastors, and overseas students, and students of the Evangelism Theological Seminary, only mentioned participants can attend. Registrations are open until October 18th at WEEA. The November 237 New Believer Field Ministers Training will take place November 5th. Registrations are open at WEEA until October 30th, 6 p.m. The Remnant Global School is taking incoming students for the 2025 academic school year.
유대인들이 선민, 이방인이라고 했을 때 예수님은 만민, 땅끝 이랬다니까. 교회는 한 2세기 뒤들어지는 네피림들은 세기를 따라잡고 가고 있는 거예요. 렘넌트 운동을 해야 된다. 렘넌트에게 올인해야 된다. 제대로 키우지 않으면 복음은 없어지고 교회는 죽는다. 그래서 렘넌트 국제학교 만들었습니다. 그게 렘넌트 글로벌 철치라는 RGS입니다.
Welcome to Remnant Global School. I am Esther Choi, the student president. I'm going to look at RGS to find out why this is the right place for us now, why we should train here now, why we should be here now.
RGS is the school that nurtures remnants to possess both the gospel and skills to succeed through the gospel and to gain victory even after success.
Here we're given opportunities to establish gospel-centered lives and to create good habits as our nature.
In addition, by utilizing God-given power, you gain academic success and
Become equipped with a spirituality and a reasonable attitude for the sake of the 237 Healing and Summit. During this critical phase, we are being trained at RGS. RGS also fosters us to gain independent skills to overcome our shortcomings.
At RGS, we discover the me whom God has made and our God-given talents. We also pray, organize, and decide in our daily personal applications.
Undoubtedly, this is the greatest field to receive healing regarding our spiritual problems in daily life.
RGS also prepares us with practical language skills and expertise, which are the beginning of globalization.
Through reading and internships, we discover our expertise. In addition, we personalize the CVDIPs of the 7 remnants and ultimately through the gospel.
We are instilled with the power of influence to evangelize the world and receive answers to challenge toward the future. This is Remnant Global School!
This week's offering. Disciples across the nation and the world continue to send their heartfelt offerings to the 237 Center and RUTC this week. This week's announcements. The 2024 fall semester RU doctoral course will start October 15th for 2 days at the Deokpyeong RUTC. The 2025 Department of College Missions Camp is taking additional applications. Next week's Saturday course service will take place centered on the Jungbu region in the Daejeon chapter at the All Nations Mission Church. May you become the witness who enjoys the 300% answer, which raises the partisan journey and guidepost of the throne. This concludes the news. Thank you.